Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at pitching today, the 27th of April. It is Sunday. We do have a 7-game main slate, and if I do have enough time towards the end, just touch on some pitchers on the 6-game afternoon slate. Normally we don't really have it this spread out. Just a lot more series on the West Coast this weekend, so two pretty solid slates ahead of us. A little annoyed that the Rockies game didn't make it on either slate on DraftKings, just because it looks like a nice place for some offense, to be honest, but also some game theory with a pitcher pitching in Coors. But this is a first look video at the pitching options on the slate. I will be utilizing DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, I would cut my pool into a half. You don't have to be as creative. Pricing isn't quite as tight, allowing you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Let's start out like we have recently with looking at some of the weather on this particular slate. It goes through the St. Louis-Milwaukee game here. Across the field in St. Louis, out to center in Kansas City. I've seen some reports where it's across the field from right to left and not out to center, so it'll be interesting to find out which is the correct wind direction. Wind strong blowing in the Washington and Mets game out in Yankee Stadium, but we also have Gausman versus Max Fried. Not exactly the easiest of pitching matchups for the batters, but still, obviously short porch plus wind blowing out. Even though Yankee Stadium isn't quite as affected by wind as a lot of the other stadiums are, still favorable hitting conditions. So wind blowing in again in Cleveland, lighter winds, but it's also in the 50s, so probably a decent spot to look at some pitching. Let's take a look at what we have working for us. We'll start with this Mets-Washington game because the weather is prime for pitching in this matchup. Tyler McGill has been very strong. Just 3 earned runs allowed in 5 starts, coming off of a 10 strikeout performance. I do kind of expect a little regression from that number, probably more in the 5 or 6 range, which matches considering his K-props at 5.5 with juice on the under. The Mets are a minus 148 favorite, and McGill is plus 175 to earn the W, which puts him kind of middle of the road on this particular slate. He's definitely somebody that I'm going to utilize in this environment. Plus, the pricing on these two are pretty strong for us. Mitchell Parker coming off of an elite performance. Not a huge K guy. Walks can be an issue from time to time. But just 5 earned runs allowed in 5 starts. Just 1 home run allowed as well. Being a lefty, expect the Mets to be pretty right-hand heavy. But as we saw, the wind should be blowing in for those right-handed bats. Blowing in left field at 18 miles an hour. Actually a pretty solid spot for Mitchell Parker, even though the Mets aren't a very strong K team. I do think they do have some Ks against left-handed pitching, though. Vientos has a ton of power, but his K number should increase. Francisco Alvarez, etc. So it definitely going to want pitchers in this game. I wish each pitcher offered a little bit more upside, but on this particular slate, I think they are perfectly fine, and should be somebody that we probably consider going. Excuse me. Apparently, I cut out there, but we should consider going overweight on Tyler McGill and Mitchell Parker here. As you can see, McGill. Right now we have projected as the third highest owned pitcher, but at only 16%. Parker all the way down at the bottom, or near the bottom at 4%. Parker at 4% is something that I'm going to take advantage of quite a bit, and we don't have to really overexpose ourselves in doing so. Jumping back here, looking at Toronto and the Yankees, we saw wind blowing out in the Yankee Stadium. Gausman is a K-prop of 6.5 with juice on the under. Fried's is just 4.5 with juice on the over. Fried is plus 130 to earn the W, which is the second best on this particular slate behind Tariq Skubal. Gausman plus 200 to earn the W, which is just slightly better than Mitchell Parker's plus 205. The Yankees are minus 198 favorites. Gausman has obviously faced the Yankees plenty in his career. He's given up 8 home runs to the current roster, but 6 of those have been hit by Judge. I think if you can avoid Judge a little bit, and for a lesser extent, Paul Goldschmidt, who's 7 of 12 against him, I think Gausman certainly has enough upside for us. Problem is his strikeouts have been all over the place, so we don't really know what to expect exactly. He went from a start with 0 strikeouts to 10 strikeouts the very next time out. So, all over the place. There is some volatility because he is a fly ball pitcher. Max Fried leans ground balls. K numbers aren't as strong, but again, struck out double digits once this year already. But he struck out just 2 last time out. I think Fried benefits from Toronto not having too many left-handed bats in this ballpark, even though, one would be Andres Jimenez. Maybe one of the outfielders at the bottom, Rodin, Lucas, might find their way in the lineup, but I'm not really expecting them to. So it should be a fairly right-hand heavy lineup for Max Fried. Boston, Cleveland. We did see that the weather was solid for pitching again. There have been some runs scored in this series, which is kind of shocking considering the weather has been pretty bad in Cleveland from a hitting standpoint. Brian Bayo against Logan Allen. Bayo returned, made his first start of the year. Looked pretty solid. Super strong ground ball rate against Seattle. Ks weren't really there, but I think he's solid enough. Threw 97 pitches in his first start. It's a very strong number to begin his season. This game total is 7.5 with juice on the over. Cleveland is a minus 115 favorite, so it's very close to a pick'em. Bayo plus 150 to earn the W. Logan Allen does not have a win prop yet. Bayo's K prop at 4.5 with juice on the under, while Logan Allen is 5.5 with juice on the under. We were all over Logan Allen last start. Missed out on the W, which obviously hurt, but it was still a strong start. He's given up just 1 earned run over the last 3 appearances. Strikeouts aren't super strong, but he is averaging around a strikeout per inning over his last 3. Having the stronger K-prop of the 2 pitchers, very interesting, but I do think that Logan Allen is viable because of the weather in Cleveland and being left-handed. It certainly fits that ballpark. Baltimore, Detroit, not really interested in Dean Kramer. Tariq Skubal, obviously, one of the best pitchers in baseball. Second best K-prop on the slate behind Joe Ryan at 6.5. He's minus 105 to earn the W. Detroit's a minus 205 favorite. Tied with Max Fried for the best outs prop at 18.5 as well. Just a very solid pitcher, obviously. I mean, he won the pitching Triple Crown last year in the AL, so obviously. Started out a little slower, then turned it on for a couple starts. Was decent last time out. Not really a fan of the fact that he hasn't topped 93 pitches in any of his 5 starts. Really looks like we're looking at mid to upper 80s, maybe low 90s in pitches. But this Baltimore offense has been pretty rough to begin the season. So I think Trick Screwball is certainly viable for us. Slight wind blowing in the 60s. Should be decent pitching, weather, atmosphere, environment, whatever word I'm looking for. And obviously Screwball is, a top tier pitcher as it is. So 10.5K, obviously a little pricey on this particular slate, but he's the best real life pitcher going at this point. Joe Ryan, Jose Soriano. Soriano obviously let us down the last time out. His K prop's just 4.5 with juice on the under. His outs prop's just 16.5 with juice on the under. The Twins are minus 166 favorites. So Soriano plus 225 to earn the W. Extreme ground ball guy, which is key, but there's a lot of walks in that. Nice thing is the Twins aren't a super dangerous squad, so that's why I think Soriano is viable. He could end up the last man into my pool. He could end up outside of my pool when it's all said and done, but he's at least worthy of consideration and digging more into as well. The last couple starts have not been good. A lot of base runners. Probably going to make Minnesota somewhat popular. Game total is just 7.5, though. Joe Ryan coming off a really rough start against the Braves. Had a couple strong starts prior to that. Bypassed the 100 pitch mark, which is nice to see. Went 7 innings 3 starts ago, so there is innings and pitch total upside. He does have the best K prop on the slate at 7.5. Juice is on the under, but a 7.5 K prop for Joe Ryan is pretty strong. His outs prop's at 17.5 with juice on the over. He's plus 155 to earn the W, which is slightly behind Brian Bayo at 150, but ahead of a guy like Tyler McGill at 175. So I think Joe Ryan's win prop is a pretty strong option for us on this particular slate. And as we saw, we expect him to be the highest owned, slightly ahead of Scooble even on this particular slate. Houston, Kansas City. There's been some strong pitching performances in this series. I'm not sure that I believe it's going to continue, but Bubic has been pretty strong. 3 starts of 25 plus already this season. The Houston offense has been pretty blah, so I think Bubic has to be in play for us. He's plus 230 in the W. 4.5 is his K prop with juice on the over. Hunter Brown, plus 135 to earn the W, which puts him at the 3rd best prop. Has not allowed a run in 3 starts. Just been really good. Kansas City, not a huge strikeout team, but Hunter Brown's pretty solid. His K prop's just 4.5 with juice on the over. While both pitchers have outs props of 17.5, and both are juiced to the over. I think I definitely want to utilize them. Last name here for this game, Quintana, maybe. I think he's going to end up on the outside looking in because I just don't think he has the upside. He's just thrown the ball really well in his 3 starts for the Brewers. Just doesn't have the K upside we like to see. Quick 45-second view of the afternoon slate. Glass now, but he's been dealing with injuries, so I'm a worry. Max Meyer coming off a dominant performance. I think people are going to chase it. I know he's a big-time prospect, big-time name. Seattle generally has had some strikeout issues, so I'm probably going to go there, but I do have some worries about him following up that last start. Overall, the pitching on this afternoon slate is pretty weak, so we do have to rely on Meyer, Glasnow, Schwellenbach against a tough Arizona squad, Fott against Atlanta, maybe even Jack Leiter and Jordan Hicks. Kind of a questionable slate for us this afternoon, but there we have it. There's our first look at pitching options. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.